the two-part series. Last week we did from 1 Corinthians 13, chapter 1 to 7. And today it will be 8 to 13. So 1 Corinthians 13th chapter is what we are really dwelling on. And I hope you can see my presentation full screen. So it is a frenzy now. Thank you. It's a frenzy now because that Valentine's Day, it was not, I didn't even know about it in my childhood and in my youth. I wish I knew in my youth. I would have celebrated it with great gusto. No, in fact, it's good that I didn't know about it because God led me to the right person. And maybe Valentine's Day would have got me distracted. But it's a frenzy. And yes, it's a celebration of Saint Valentine who stood for love. But, the commercial people have totally taken over. So tomorrow, it's a day of business for all the flower companies, for all the chocolate companies. So many advertisements already, for all the restaurants, for all the bakeries, for all the gifting. It has become a huge thing. And tomorrow, I want to, those of you who are planning to take your spouse out, I hope you've made the booking because you will not get booking also in the restaurant. And you will have to, like how I did, make some excuse. I plan to do it in a different way and take you out to a dhaba or something like that. But she can see through me really well. But the first poll, and I will request Pramod to show it in just a moment. Is it right? I just want to know what are your views. I'm not imposing any views. I will tell you what my view is. But I just want to know what you feel. Is it right for Christians to celebrate Valentine's? On one hand, you can say, no, let's not even mention that. Other people are very cautious because they're answerable to their spouse, especially the guys are very cautious. And and whatever your view, make sure it is a combined view. It should not be that the husband says, no, I'm not going to celebrate. And the wife is expecting him and expecting. And he says, no, I thought we are not celebrating. So, yes, let's celebrate. Let's not overdo it. But there could be people who would say, and there are many organizations which do it. Let's celebrate and share about God's true love. On, when was it? About some 3 days back, Youth for Christ Hyderabad had a panel discussion on love, and there were about 80 young people, actually a little more than that, and we had 3 couples as panel members, Caroline and Wycliffe, Sandeep and Eri, and Sheila and myself, and there were some very searching questions. I think, like how Youth for Christ did, and many other organizations also did, we have to take this occasion especially to use it as a platform to share about God's true love. So I will stop sharing and I will ask you, Pramod, to just share what is it that majority of the people feel, and then we will come back to my presentation. I just want to see that, Pramod, if you are sharing already, I can see. So this was the poll, and the result is, we had, by the way, almost 30 people voting. That's very good. If you have not, you can still go there. It's there in the chat and in our church WhatsApp group. But majority of the people said, yes, let us celebrate and use this platform to share about God's love. I like that. And those 4 people who said, let's not have anything to do with it. I hope if you're married, I guess you're not married. If you're married, just make sure that you and your spouse are on the same thing. It should not be you are saying, let's not celebrate, and your spouse is expecting you to celebrate. So I'm just giving you a tip, dear men. Please come to me. I'll give you a lot of tips. I've fallen into many ditches in my 27 years of marriage, and this is one of those. So be on the same page. So I'm so happy. This is my view also. Yes, let us celebrate and share about God's true love. By the way, that YFC, you can stop sharing, Pramod. Thank you very much, Pramod, for conducting these polls in an excellent way. I think we'll have more and more of these polls. Those of you in the church, you also can see in your WhatsApp, the link is there. and you can answer those polls. But I just wanted to, I will share the link. It's there on YouTube also, that discussion. Some of the questions that they ask is so much. Most of the young people, they were not married. Most of them, majority. And there's a lot of stress and tension of, will they find true love? One person asked a question, and Sheila gave a very strong reply to that. You can see it. I'll share the YouTube link. That the person who is engaged to be married with me, I find that he does not respect me. And love and respect go together, isn't it? And that was a very, very meaningful question. What should I do? I will not give you the answer, because she gave a very beautiful answer, and you can see it on but questions like this, and so this, let me come back to the presentation. So I believe that, yes, we should use every occasion, not just Valentine's Day. We should use every occasion to show God's true love. Once again, forgive me, it's taking a little time for it to go full screen. But let's move on. So we talked about, when they came to Jesus and they asked him, Master, what is the most important commandment? They were trying to trap him. And then he goes to that first, the commandment that is there right from the Old Testament. In Deuteronomy 6 itself, you find this: love the Lord your God with all your heart. Hear, O Israel, thou shalt love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind, and with all your strength. And you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other commandment greater than these. I want to bring you to the occasion when Jesus was, and it is so beautifully mentioned in John. He was there in the Gospel of John, that Last Supper. They didn't know it, even though he told them, they didn't know it. They didn't realize the enormity. They were having a meal. That was their last physical meal together, And Jesus did one thing. He got up. Love is always full of action. He loved them so much. He got up and he tied a towel around himself, and he took a bowl of water and he washed the feet. He washed the feet of every single person. He knew all their imperfections, but still he loved them. He washed the feet of the person, Peter, who was going to betray him. He washed his feet. He washed actually Peter was going to deny him, but Judas was going to betray him, for 30 pieces of silver, send him away to be crucified. Jesus was so full of love. No remorse, no animosity, no hatred at all. When he washed Judas's feet also. And then he told them about this new commandment. And he said, a new commandment, John 13:34, I give unto you, that you love one another as I have loved you, that you also love one another. He did not say that Christians should be known by a cross, a beautiful cross on your, no harm in that. It's good to wear a cross, beautiful necklace as a cross. He did not say that. You should wear a particular white dress or a uniform. That is how Christians will be identified in the world. He did not say that. He said you should have certain gestures, certain actions. Some people think that you have to keep on making the gesture of the cross. Nothing wrong in it. But Jesus did not say that that is your identification. What did Jesus say? By this will all men know that you are Christians, if you have love for one another, that you are my disciples. By this shall all men know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. So I'm asking you, it's not the sticker on your car, it's not the sticker on your door, it's not your name, which is a Christian name, it's not certain festivals that you celebrate. All these are good, nothing wrong with it, but you will be known. Jesus himself said this, you will be known by the love that you have for another, not your talent, not your musical ability, not the beautiful songs that you sing. Again, all these things are very good. Not even by organizing events in your office and all, which is very good. But that is not the main thing. The main thing is that you should have love. You should be known by the love that you have one another. People should know that this person is so full of love. And this is Jesus's love. And then I want to move on. You know, we saw last week, we saw especially the entire First Corinthians 1 to 13, but we dwelt mostly on, 1 to 7. And now we'll go into 8th verse to 13th verse. So, yeah, but before that, I just want to remind you that I asked you to rate yourself, on these 15 aspects, which is there between 4 to 7, verses 4 to 7. In verses 4 to 7, you'll see all these 15 aspects. I just want to remind you, because love is not an ordinary thing. Love has so many qualities. I just want to remind you, and see, love is patient. Love is kindness. Love does not envy. Love does not boast. Paul has given with such depth and such magnitude the different characteristics of love. Don't go without reading this today. If you have not rated yourself, I want to tell you that Tanuja has prepared a very beautiful questionnaire, a Word document. I will ask her to share it on the English WhatsApp group, church WhatsApp group, and where she has expanded each of these into a question and given you a rating scale and place to even write your own comments. So we are going to send that sheet to you. Please use that to introspect. Where is it that you are strong? Where is it that you lack? Love does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It's not easily angered. If you get easily angered, just a short fuse, that means you don't have love inside you. You have anger inside you. You have bitterness. You have something that is causing your fuse to be so easily. If you lose your temper, it's a simple sign you don't have love. Love does not keep a record of wrongs. I'm telling you, I'm not thinking of anyone. I'm thinking of myself when I look at all this. And I want you also to introspect. Please use that questionnaire. We're going to send it to you. Today itself, spend some time and honestly answer it. We have made it in a soft copy where you can just tick out there. Love does not delight in evil. Love is such a powerful thing. There's no scope for evil because love is good, because God is love. Love rejoices with the truth. Love always protects. That protecting spirit comes from love. Love always trusts. Love always hopes. Love always perseveres. It does not give up. Love is the fuel, the energy that keeps you going on and on and on and on. So I want you to please do that questionnaire. This is my request to you. I humbly request you, please take some time and do. This is how you can celebrate Valentine's Day, by examining the kind of love that you have. Do it. And if you have that kind of good relationship, share it with each other in the family. And confess and say, this is the area where I need to work on. I'm telling you, when you do that, the kind of love that will spread will be really more. But let's go to verses 8 to 13. Here in these verses, he says, love never fails. Where there are prophecies, they will cease. Not that prophecies are not important. They're very important, but one day prophecies will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Even the tongues one day will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, knowledge will also pass away. For we know in part, we prophesy in part, but when completeness comes, what is in part will disappear. What is that completeness? We'll come to it. When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. But when I became a man, or when I became a woman, I put the ways of childhood behind me. Now we only see a reflection as in a mirror, and then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I'm fully known. And now these three remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. And I told you, John Calvin very beautifully explained why. We will carry faith, hope, and love. It will endure for a long time. But at one point of time, Faith and hope also is not required, because when you're face to face with God, when you're in heaven, for instance, you can see him. And so faith is no longer required. Faith is a substance of things not tangible, not seen. At that time, you'll not require faith. You will be in that glorious place. There's no more need for hope because you're already fulfilled. But love will remain. Love, as John Canwell said, is the only one of these three which is not centered on yourself, but is centered outside yourself. And that's why love is the greatest. But from this passage, I just want to highlight three things. First thing is that love makes everything complete. Everything in this world. You as an individual, if you don't have love, you're incomplete. You as a family, if you don't have love, you're incomplete. As a parent, as a spouse, as a husband, as a wife, if you don't have love, you're incomplete. You need to have love. As a family, if you don't have love, you're incomplete. And where you are, as a church, as a community, if you don't have love, you're incomplete. The next thing I want to say is that love covers all wrongs. I'm not saying it. There's a beautiful verse which I will read to you later from 1 Peter 4th chapter. But love covers all wrongs. You have a lot of mistakes, my friend. None of us is perfect. But then we don't even have the power to correct the mistakes. But love will cover those wrongs. Love will cover all wrongs. So if you're worried, I'm such an imperfect person, how can I even function in my family and function in the church? And how can I even function in this world? Love covers all wrongs. So love makes everything complete. Love covers all wrongs. And I want to tell you, as a Christian, the reward that we have also, and the eternal reward that we have, is love. Love is the crown that we receive from God, because he says in Psalm 103, he says, and you will crown me with love and compassion. That is the crown. The crown is not, the crown that we are looking forward to is not diamonds, it's not gold, it's not rubies or sapphires or emeralds. All those will be in abundance in this world. I'm telling you, those are not so worthy. But love is the crown. The crown that you have, which is so valuable on your head, is love. Do you have that crown? I'm asking you, do you have the love that makes everything complete? I'm asking you a question. Do you have the love that covers all your wrongs, or you're trying foolishly to cover all your wrongs through another way? Or do you have the crown which we receive from God, which is love? Do you have that? That's the question I'm asking you. Love completes us. And now why do we love? Just look at these verses, which is like a cycle. And I call it like a circle of love. So 1 John 4:10 says, in this is love, not that we have loved God, but that he loved us. So God loves us. Love originates from God. Love existed even before this world began. Even before this world was created, there was love in the Trinity. And love is always there in the Trinity. And we love because he loves us. He first loves us. That's the source of our love. And if we love, John 14:15, Jesus says, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. Look at this circle. And if you keep my commandments, John 15:10, you will abide in my love. And then God's love continues for us in all circumstances, whether we do good or wrong. Nothing can separate us from the love of God. So love completes us. I just want to say this. The other thing that we said, that love covers all wrong. If you love, you will truly listen. You will not even hear. Sometimes we are just, especially when we are having an argument, we are not bothered to listen. We just want our way. And so we are just, sometimes, even if we are not interrupting, most of the time we are interrupting other people. Even if we are not interrupting, we are just waiting for them to finish so that we can speak. That's not true listening. Nowhere are we listening. Nowhere are we trying to understand. If you listen, you will understand. And if you understand where the other person or persons are coming from, then you will appreciate them. You will not even express irritation at them. Everywhere it is just my way, my way, my way, or the highway. But how does love cover all wrong? Because if you have truly love, you will listen. Will you even take a moment to listen to what your spouse is saying? Not just wait for them to finish so that you can say. Most of us, me included, we just want to have our say. It's about us. Oh no, I need this, I need that. Will you have the guts? Love takes courage to listen to what they're saying. If you truly listen, you will read even between the lines. Why are they saying that? You will understand them better. And if you understand them better, then you will begin to appreciate them. You know, someone said so beautifully, in fact, we did this exercise. If you truly listen to what others saying, even people who you don't like their actions, even terrorists, even others, they have some peculiar circumstance. We should understand them. You cannot change them unless there is love. You cannot change them with your anger. You cannot change them with your courage. You cannot change them with your words. You can only change them through love. And love does not speak so much. Because he starts that chapter by saying, if I can speak with the tongues of men and of angels, even if you can speak brilliantly, that's not love. Love actually will listen more. So my dear friends, here's a formula. Stop talking and start listening. Stop hearing and start listening. Start listening to understand. Start understanding to appreciate. And then your love will go. This is the circle of love. Towards the end of this message, I'll request Pramod to play a beautiful song. I didn't know that Dolly Parton could write such meaningful words. Of course, it's a Christmas song, but it says about the circle of love. You should listen to the lyrics. He's going to play a version where the lyrics also will come. It's so beautiful, the song, and you should sing along. But love covers all wrong. And I want to say that love is indeed the crown. More than a circle, I'm thinking of a spiral. I'll tell you why I'm thinking of a spiral. Because a spiral is open-ended. Sometimes a circle, you might think of it like a closed circle unless it is ever expanding. But a spiral is powerful. A spiral shows dynamism. It is moving. And in your life, you should start by loving God. You know, you should ask yourself, do I love God with all my heart, with all my soul, with all my strength? Do I love God? You know, if you know God, you will love God. Read 1 John chapter 4. That is also a homework for today. A lot of homework today. Of course, tomorrow is Valentine's Day. So do this homework on true love, my dear friends. You should love God. Are you loving God? You know, if you read about God's love for you, you cannot help but love God back. How much God loves you. He created you. There is no circumstance that God's love for you will not cease. There is no circumstance. Anything that the devil does to distract, but God's love for you will not cease. So start by loving God. And then I'm talking about spouse because God says that you two should be one. For this, a man shall leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and the two shall be one. You are like one body. You are like one. And so your spouse should be there in the spiral. And then your family. Do you love your family? You know, and then we move on, and your love as a spiral, it should expand. The love of friends is very good. And then all your colleagues and your neighbors, and then, you know, everyone in your community. And then your love, you should love your country. And, you know, yesterday Deepak was talking about even the environment we should love. This is how a Christian should love. So let's see this next. By the way, love, we have a debt to everyone, not a debt of money. You think, okay, that person owes me money, or I owe that person money. That's not the true debt. Every one of us, we owe one another love, because that has fulfilled the law. If you're not loving the people around you, it's like you owe them something, a huge loan that you have taken by not loving them. You have to repay it. And that is love. Romans 13:8. But let's look at the next poll. And Deepak mentioned very often, please be honest, please be honest. So when did I show the most love to my spouse? In a minute, I will request Pramod to show this poll. Was it before marriage? The first 3 years of marriage? By the way, we don't know your names. We just know the end result. After 3 years, when we got to know each other, first 3 years of marriage, by the way, option B is very common. I mean, at that time, and then sometimes it peters off or sometimes it increases because so many incidents happen in our life. Or can you truly say that, our love for each other keeps growing over the years as we understand each other? But that is true love. And I'll come back to that true love. So Pramod, if you can show this poll, and in a little while, you can show the next poll also. Yes, I think you can. So when did I show the most love? I'm really eager to see what our people say. Wow, you are just wonderful. I hope, yes, clap, but I hope also that you are honest. Before marriage, 2 votes. First 3 years of marriage, 2 votes. After 3 years, when we got to know each other more, 1 vote. But our love for each other keeps growing over the years. Wonderful. Hats off to you, church. I have to learn from each one of you, and thank you very much for your honesty, and thank you for the 31 of you who participate in the poll. Pramod, if you have it ready, you can kindly show the next poll also. The next one is about how often do you show your love to your spouse and your family? How, not just show, sorry, tell them. My wife kept reminding me yesterday when I was writing down these polls, when did you last tell? No, but I hug you and kiss you in the morning. No. When did you last tell was the question, she reminded me. So here we can see a little more honesty. There's some, and I don't know the names, but thank you for your honesty. There's some of you who say that you've never actually told your family members that you love them. I don't know what is the circumstance. Are you with your family? Are you alone, or what it could be? But almost, every one of us has a family. And if you have never told, that's very honest. But it's also very sad, that you've never actually opened your mouth and tell them that you love them. They need that. And no one has said before marriage, because I think then the marriage itself would not be there. But 20 people, very honest, you have said, occasionally I tell it. And occasionally, I mean maybe once or some special occasion when you feel very close or something like that. But there are 9 of you, and I praise God for you, who are daily uttering this to your spouse and your family members, to your parents, everyone, that I love you, I love you. What music it will be to their ears. So daily you are uttering that, and that is really good. And 32 participants who participated in this poll, thank you very much. And I'll go back to sharing my screen. Pramod, you conducted this so well. Thank you so much. And I'll go back to sharing my screen now. And once again, it is taking some time to come into full screen. But yes, so I hope this is a revelation, these polls to you, and you will. But I want to talk about, we talked about this. Most of you know this already, and I'm not talking anything new. Actually, C.S. Lewis wrote a book on this, The 4 Kinds of Love. And when I was just researching this, I believe actually in Greek, there is more than 7, at least 7 words for love. You can please research that. Even maniacal love is there. Even self-love, narcissistic love is there. There's so many other words of love. But in the Bible, by the way, these 4 words are used. Eros, which means sensual desire. And by the way, in the New Testament, eros is not used. It's more in the Old Testament. When describing certain issues that have happened, especially, the Bible is very honest about the lives of the people. And this is there. Most of the world mistake the word love for eros. It is sensual desire. It is actually lust. It is romance, or more than romance. It is sensual desire. It's sexual desire. And we know, and when I talk to the young persons, and especially when I talk to counselors, we have some of you know our close family friends. Santosh is a counselor, and Sandeep is a counselor, and I have certain other counselor friends, and they all tell me something which is very, very frightening, that pornography has become a way of life among the young people. And I want to tell you, do all you can to protect yourself from pornography. Even if you're part of WhatsApp groups, sometimes innocently some pictures are shared, and you just delete it. Don't even look at it to find out. And then I want to say, protect your family, especially your kids, because even at a young impressionable age, these things are passed around in kids. In school, even in apartment complexes, sometimes they kids get together and they watch. And some parents have probably erred by giving the cell phones and internet connection a bit too soon. But it is a reality. And even adults, many of them very harmlessly, they're not able to get rid of it. I want to tell you, if you need counseling, please just ask me. I will give you some number. It's not a stigma to get counseled. But if you have some kind of addiction to pornography, please deal with it now. I would recommend you a counselor, because there are ways in which they will pray for you. And I'll talk only about Christian counsel. They'll pray for you and get you out of it. The next word that is used there in the Bible, especially the Greek word for love, is phileo, which is more for friendship. David and Jonathan had the phileo kind of love for each other. And that is also very good. And a friend's love is very, very good and very pure. And then the storge love is family love. That's a love that family members have for them. Family members have, especially they say a mother's love, a father's love, a sibling's, a brother's love, a sister's love, and that is a love that does not have eros in it. And it is more, a love that protects and cares and looks out for the benefit of each other. But none of these three is really worth it. The love that we are talking about mostly, especially in 1 Corinthians 13, the word that is used is agape, God's supernatural love, God's unconditional love. It's not based on who we are. It's not like, if you do this, I will love you. If you become a Christian, you believe in me, I will love you. God so loved the world. It's God's supernatural love. Agape is love because of the character of the person loving, rather than the worthiness of the object being loved. It is love in spite rather than love because of. God's love for you is agape love. There is a story in the Bible. You know that story very well. We call it the story of the prodigal son. The son was literally telling the father that I don't care for you. I don't even mind if you're dead, because what I should get when you're dead, I want it now. I want that share of the property now. The father was very grieved, but the son didn't care. He said, I don't, these words are not there, but it means that I don't care for you. I love you. I love money so much that I hate you. I don't care whether you're alive, and I'm going to go away. The moment I get that money, I'm going to go away. And then he goes and he spends all this, maybe in eros way or maybe in phileo way, and he throws parties and he spends all this money. And I'm telling you, as long as you're splurging your money like that, you will find people who are surrounding you, but they're not people who truly love you, because when the money goes away, you're not there. But then when he comes back, when he has no other go, he says, I will not go as a son now, because I have rejected the love of my father. So I will go back as a slave where there need not be a love relationship. But the father says, nothing doing. You can never be my slave. You are my son. You will always be my son. And the father who has been looking out for him, sees him coming from afar, has been waiting for the day. There was no WhatsApp message saying, I'm going to arrive now and all. The father was just looking out and ran and goes and just takes, hugs him and celebrates. I want to tell you, some years back, Prithvi, who has been blessed by another beautiful baby girl, praise God for that. Prithvi and Sangeeta have been blessed with it. So Prithvi was shooting a little movie, and he asked me to take the role of the father, and Pranay did an excellent job as the son. When he came with all his clothes disheveled and looking like a vagabond, and he came and said, Father, I want to just be a slave. When I saw him acting, really tears came to my eyes. It was not my acting, because he did it so beautifully. That is the love of a father. So beautiful. I also want to tell you, for those of you, I will not dwell on this, but this is a very popular thing, Gary Chapman's 5 love languages. If you want to understand your spouse and others in your family and everywhere, everyone has a different way, their preferred way in which they receive love. Many people like words of affirmation. Some people like time spent with them. Some people like receiving gifts. Some people like you to do some actions, like even when you clean the house, you wash the vessels, you go outside and do the shopping and all, that act of service also. And some people like that touch, hugging and planting a kiss on them. There's people, you have to understand how your spouse likes to receive that love. This love languages is a famous thing. Please go to that site. It is www. I hope you can see it. 5, the numeral 5 lovelanguages.com. You also have quizzes. Why don't you do that? Especially spouses who, by the way, it's a long time since we had a couples get together, and we should plan one. I am requesting some of you to take the leadership and plan one. But go to 5lovelanguages.com. You will have quizzes there and a lot of articles and resources. It's a wonderful site to go. That will really help you understand and increase the quality of your love. There's no use doing something which the other person does not appreciate. Find out what the other person appreciates the most. Is it words of affirmation? Is it spending time? Is it the gifts? Or is it the acts of service? Or is it the touch? Just understand that and do that. But now, I just want to, as I told you, just read to you that beautiful passage from 1 Peter 4th chapter 7th 11. It says, the end of all things is near. Therefore, be alert. We are coming to the close of this world. There's unmistakable signs that these are the end days. So because the end is so near, be alert and of sober mind so that you may pray. And look at this line. Above all, love each other deeply, because love covers over a multitude of sins. I want to just underline that, love each other deeply, because love covers over a multitude of sins. What is the ministry that you can do in this end days? Love them. Even if you're doing all this other ministry, preaching, and you don't have love, it's no use, says Paul. You prophesy, it's no use. You speak in the tongues of men and angels, it's no use. Look what else he says. Offer hospitality to one another without grumbling. Are you all about yourself? Are you offering hospitality to another? Each of you should use whatever gift you are. God has given you a gift to love others, to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. If you have a gift of singing, go and sing for people. Go to someone's house, especially those who are going through a lot. Sing some beautiful songs and lift up their spirits. What if you have a gift of, cooking? Do that. Go and share some special dishes that you have made with people around you, the ones whom you love. If anyone speaks, they should do, verse 11, they should do so as one who speaks the very word of God. If anyone serves, they should do so with the strength of God provides, so that in all things God may be praised through Jesus Christ. To him be the glory and the power forever and ever. I'll close now. But what a beautiful song Uday and Raboni and all chose, the deep, deep love of Jesus. Oh, the deep, deep love of Jesus. Vast, unmeasured, boundless, free, rolling as a mighty ocean in its fullness over me, underneath me, all around me is the current of thy love. It's like a powerful current. It's like he's giving the metaphor of ocean, leading onward, leading homeward to thy glorious rest above. Samuel Trevor Francis, he was almost about to commit suicide. Do we even love the people? Do you know that around you, even in your community, there are people willing to commit suicide? I don't know if you remember, I have a friend, a colleague from England, a lady called Dawn Walker. She lives in a small town in England. She spoke in our church once beautifully about the lion and the regality of the lion. I wonder if you remember. And Dawn Walker was telling me the other day that, their church in that little town where they had a lot of suicides from one particular bridge, just like Samuel Trevor Francis. He was on a bridge on the River Thames and he was about to jump in. It's a deep river, my friends. I've seen it. Many of you have seen the Thames. So she says in that town, one particular bridge was a common suicide point. And suicide is an infectious disease. If someone does it, others also get ideas. Maybe I should also do it. So as a church, periodically, they gather at that bridge and they pray for the people there, and they said, Lord, let no one come here and let no more suicides happen. And she was telling me that ever since they started praying, I don't know if it is completely zero, but the suicides have reduced to a great extent. Are you showing that deep, deep love of Jesus to the people around you? And I like this beautiful song from Casting Crowns, and I'll just read it to you and then I'll close here. But Jesus is a friend of sinners. We have strayed so far away. Instead of loving people, we cut down people in your name. We think our words are to cut down people. No, Jesus has given us a mouth and a tongue to love people, to share words of love. But we cut down people in your name. But the sword was never ours to swing. Jesus, friend of sinners, the truths become so hard to see. The world is on their way to you, but I'm like an obstacle. They're tripping over me. Oh, Jesus, friend of sinners, open our eyes to the world at the end of our pointing fingers. We're always pointing fingers at the others. Let our hearts be led by mercy. And I just want to highlight this one word here. Nobody knows what we are for, only what we are against when we judge the wounded. Are you a person? I just want you to please, I'm not accusing you. I'm just telling you in love. And it happens to me most of the time. Is the word no a common vocabulary for everything you start off a sentence by no, don't do this. Are you just interested in judging others, say they shouldn't do this, they shouldn't do? And this is what we Christians have become known for. They know what we are against, but do they know what we are for? We are for loving people. Do we do acts of love? This Valentine's Day, I just want you to make it a very, very special day. I mean, don't even wait for tomorrow. Start today. But ask yourself, do I have love? Love. In a moment, I'll ask Pramod to play that song, Circle of Love. Just remember to put the audio also. But love covers all wrong. Love completes us. Love is the crown that we will receive. What if we put down our signs, crossed over the lines, and love like you did?